Welcome to this short video looking at how we can measure the rate of reaction. In this video we are going to look at how the rate of reaction is affected by changing the concentration of the reactants. So let's have a quick look at some of the equipment we can use. So flasks are used to carry out reactions in. Gas syringes are used to measure the amount of gas produced very precisely. A stopwatch is used to time things in seconds. A balance measures the mass of reactants in grams or milligrams. A measuring cylinder is used to measure the amount of a liquid or a gas in milliliters. And a water bath is used to invert a measuring cylinder into, and then you fill it with water, and then you can measure the amount of gas produced by seeing how much water has been displaced. Thermometers are used to measure the temperature in degrees centigrade, and beakers are generally used to carry out reactions in, store things in, or mix or heat liquids in. So when thinking about practicals, there are several keywords that we need to remember. So a control variable is any variable which does not change during the experiment. The dependent variable is the variable that we're going to measure and responds to the independent variable. A hypothesis is a prediction on whether the independent variable will have an effect on the dependent variable. An independent variable is a variable that we are changing. An anomaly is a result that does not fit the pattern. A correlation is the relationship between two variables. An error is a measure of the difference between the measured and the calculated value and the true value. And precision and accuracy are often used interchangeably, but in science they have different meanings. So measurements that are close to the known value are said to be accurate, whereas measurements that are close to each other are said to be precise. Now that we've had a look at different variables and things, we can go and look at how we carry out the investigation. So remember, when you're putting a method together, it needs to be detailed. So we're going to look at how changing the concentration affects the rate of reaction. Some of the equipment that we're going to use is shown below. So we've got a balance, measuring cylinders, different concentrations of acid, and we are going to measure the amount of gas that's produced using a gas syringe. So firstly, measure out 50 milliliters of 0.2 mol hydrochloric acid using a measuring cylinder. Right, then measure out 20 grams of magnesium using a balance. Pour both the reactants into a flask and connect to a gas syringe. Make sure that you give them a swirl first. You are going to connect them to your gas syringe because it will be more precise. So you're going to measure the volume of gas produced in 60 seconds and then work out the rate of reaction. Repeat this using different concentrations of acid, and then for each concentration of acid, repeat 3 times so you can go and take an average. So now that we've looked at how to carry out the investigation, there are just a few last things to think about. So there are a few questions that you should ask yourself when completing your method. So, what thing should you do first? Is there something confusing you? And if there is, Where could you look for some help? Could you explain your method to somebody else? So does it make sense? Could you have used more scientific terms within your method? And if you need help, do you know where to look for it? Have you double checked what you need to include? And have you had a think through how you could possibly make your method better? Right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has been helpful.